Bluetooth mode.
Oh yeah. Palagi lupat eh. Sana yung power bank mo yung nilalagay? Saka pili ko kasi mga ganun mahihina. Kain ka dyan pag may time. Sarap yan ang chicken yan.
Texas?
Texas.
Oo, naalala ko yun. Dati may only rice.
Oo.
Pinas na.
Meron din sa Riyadh na rice yan.
Rice all you can.
Rice and... Eh?
Rice all.
Sana bimbe.
10 to 12.
Ha?
10 to 12, July 2. July 2 ngayon, di ba?
Oo. Tapos?
Itong lahat. Bumibili ako dyan ng ice cream.
No, ikaw lang.
Sarap pag may papupunta ako sa'yo.
Wow, tapos siya lang, di ba lang magbigay ng price?
Nagtutunaw.
Hindi ice cream, ma,
Ah,
price.
fries.
Hindi ka na ka.
14 hours ba? 24 hours pa ako ngayon.
Ganyan, ganyan dapat. Ganyan. Very good, very good.
Bukas, meron pa akong
Pwede pa kang 5 hours bukas.
oo. 5 so 9 hours ako ngayon.
Hindi, 8 hours na.
8, okay. Hindi bukas, may lunch pala kami. So, half day na ako bukas.
Automatic na yun, ga?
10 hours na lang. Yes!
Ilan?
10 hours na lang.
10 hours na lang.
Pwede ko na kumpleto yung 10 hours.
Hindi, magka-timing ka kasi naman, di ba? Hindi
Kaya
pwedeng...
nga, kaya. May meeting pa ako ng 10 to 12
10 to 12?
bukas. Siguro before lunch.
Anong meeting yan?
Yung sa MRO. Maintenance, repair, and overhaul.
Wow. Salita ka nga.
Ha?
Salita ka nga. Sarapan.
Ay, ano lang. Commissioning kasi yun. Minsan nga, ano lang.
Ilang years ka na nga dyan?
Lampas na ako ng 10.
Ilan?
Lampas na ako ng 10.
Kaya pala trusted na.
Kaya pala trusted. Pag mag-apply ka na ng US visa mo.
Bakit?
Wala lang.
Utot mo, di ba ka tinakapay ng Europe visa? Pa-US visa mo pa ako?
Mas madali yan. Ay, naku, Diyos.
Ikaw nga, ilang years na ang US visa mo, no? Parang gagamit. Oh, tapos pa-apply mo ko.
Access ko yung US visa mo.
Iyan, basta-basta mag-US visa, syempre, ano mo, may interview ka, may, ano ka pa, account check, bank check.
Hindi man ako nahirapan.
Syempre,
Hindi, I mean, hindi. Ang, ang bangko, hindi naman tinitingnan nila eh. Alam na nila yun eh. Kasi nakalagay na doon yung salary naman nila yung in and out ng
Oo.
cash ng
In and out ko mas do.
flow ng
Eh kasi natatransact ka talaga dito eh. Aside from the, ano, meron ko mga racket.
ay hindi kasama yun.
Yun?
Hindi yun.
Ano lang?
Pag yung mga funds na galing outside doon sa kung employee ka,
Oh, hindi kasama?
kasama. Baka nga mag-questionin ka pa kung may pumasok na pera, saan galing yan? Pero, nung in-interview ako, hindi na ako tinanong about sa pera or
Actually, have you ever traveled?
yun ang madalas.
Actually, yun na, baseline yun have you ever traveled?
Kasi, pumunta ka naman doon as tourist. Tourist naman yung in-apply mo. So, magkatanong sila about tourist.
Oo, at saka most likely, pag nakita naman nila ito daw, ibig sabihin, able ka to, travel.
Pero malaking bagay yung stay mo dito. Saka yung kung ano yung mga meron ka. Kasi, ang purpose ng visa is to secure them na ikaw ay
oo.
babalik kung saan ka nanggaling. So, kung mag-a-apply ka as tourist ka lang. So, certain time na babalik ka dapat. Dapat ma-assure mo sila na babalik ka. So, kung halimbawa, matagal ka na dito at meron ka ng foundation, so, definitely, babalik ka. Or,
Ang Europe at saka yung kasi
ay sa UK kasi, ano naman sila, wala, hindi ko alam, wala naman interview. Ano lang, parang fill up ka lang dun sa ano, more on documents sila. Dapat meron kang ganitong document. Kung may nilagay ka halimbawa na kaibigan o ano, dapat may document na magpapatunay na.
doon sila. Ba't di ka ba kumuha lang try mag-send din? Madali lang yun sa'yo eh.
Madali lang ako. Eh, hindi naman ako
Mag-Europe.
anytime pwede ako magbubuka.
Tapos sabi mo, ay nandito, maganda dito, halika na.
Oo.
Nauna ko pala.
Pwede naman, pwede nga ako muna. O kaya, take it natin. Asay, ngayon ba flight mo? Sunday na kita.
Oh, claim it, claim it. Wala kang plane ticket dun eh. Mura lang dito.
Magaling dito. Pero magaling sa Pinas mahal.
Oo, dito ka dyan. Matabi ko pa. Matabi! Tingnan mo, gusto tabihin. Sabi ka. Bakit nakalati na yung kasada? Sabi na dito.
Dito na pati, hindi na dun sa kabilang side.
Doon naman ang ginawa na ginawa na nila.
Ginagawa lang nila overnight.
Di ha, taga nito, di ba?
Hindi, ito pag open ng ganyan, overnight. Gabi, dun ako naman. Hindi ko na brush siya.
Nabubog lang ako.
Oras ang klase mo na 30 pa rin.
Ay, hindi ako natutulog lang. Uwitan muna ng kape. Kasi mag-ano ko.
Masarap yun na kape.
Oo, top to, di ba?
Parang
Short.
parang sweet daw.
Yan na lang pala nangyari sa ako.
Ha?
Next one. one. Nalalamutan mo yung mga TikTok niya pag ano lang.
Wala pa akong visa.
Si Dre.
Follow ko kasi
Dali lang naman yan, di ba?
5 minutes.
Di pa ako nakakatry talaga lumabot eh. Pero wala rin naman kasi.
No, mas
Di pa ako nakakapag-get ng
punta tayong Turkey.
sana all. Turkey. Di pa nga ako tayo nakahingi ng street entry dito ng pabarit lang.
Ay, di kumuha ka. Punta tayong Bahrain. Or Qatar. Saglit lang din ang Qatar. Pwede Kuwait, pero walang buhay daw sa Kuwait.
Walang?
Walang buhay sa Kuwait.
Pero pag meron ka ng GCC, yung ano, yung multiple ano,
Exit re-entry o re-entry. Kaya lang single lang gusto ako. Hindi naman ako lagi na biyahe. Outside GCC.
pag ako nakatapos na ng exam,
Or Dubai.
pag ako nakatapos na ng exam,
Kailan tao sa exam?
like, ako mag-booking. Kasi ang utak ko this year,
Tutukan mo muna.
of course, tsaka na yung gagawin ko. Well, September ako dito. Ay, naalala ko, September yata yun ako ano lang yun sa'yo. Mag 1 year na rin ako.
Perfect.
Ha? Boy, bakit inuwi mo na ako?
Ay, oo nga no.
Nakape nga ako eh. Ano ba yung turn dito?
Perfect and good.
Uy, pa ako. Tsaka
Pag mag-exam kami dati, pag nag-review, as in review talaga, as in totoo. Perfectin natin.
Ha? Pero?
May perfectin daw natin.
Ha?
May perfect.
Ah. Oo, yun dapat kasi talaga ang goal. Kung hindi mo mag-goal ang perfect, at least nandun ka sa baseline. Hindi ka dun sa pasanghawan na, tapos bumagsak pa.
Nakaka-proud yun na lalo na pag yung mata, ikaw pinakamataas.
Kailangan mo sa sarili mo. Kailangan mo. Naiintindihan ko naman na. Pero at least,
Oo, pasok ba tayo?
ano yan? Sa'yo coffee lang. Masarap yung coffee.
400 lang kasi.
Huwag na mag-up-up.
Oo, sayang po. Minsan 1 real nga lang kaya yung kape. May rewards. Ilan points? Ay, 170 lang ang points ko. Nagamit ko na ba yan?
Ikaw lang.
Oh, yun, 400 lang.
Huwag na. Mahal-mahal lang po yun. Hot drinks for 7
Ayan, ayan. 5 real.
Ano ito? Ako naman. Lagi ka na lang.
Ano, sir? Gusto mo to?
Ano yun? Ice? Ice?
Americano.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Ay,
Yes,
hot
sorry,
coffee
Nick.
lang. Hot coffee lang.
Yeah, can we have
Sorry?
Ito, may bike. Dito to.
Yan mga connect-connect mamaya.
Ito.
Tapos coffee na sa ating dalawa.
Excuse me?
Yes. Can you redeem this one? I have.
Sorry?
I have to scan this one.
Spanish letter?
This one. Can it scan?
Yeah, scan. You cannot scan?
I am not sure. Can you have the code M846
M
672?
M672.
MA46.
Yes.
That's it?
M846 672.
M846
6 672.
M84672. Right?
6672.
Double six.
Got it? Got it.
Okay, mini Costa.
Yes.
Okay, what's the rings?
The drinks.
Coke lang.
Cola.
Ay, cool, ano na tapos, ano?
Cola. Okay, Shaitani.
One Americano.
Eh, ako, coffee din.
Okay, Shaitani.
Sorry, two Americanos.
Americano too.
Yes.
Okay, Shaitani.
That's it.
Okay, Costa.
Thank you.
Come next.
Ang tawag nito? Dapat i-upgrade mo na lang ang drinks ka, no? Hindi ka na kumuha ng soft drinks. Pwede ba yun?
Hindi, meal kasi siya eh.
Change. Ako naman. Ako naman.
Ay, wala tong ano eh. Two, six, 7,
6, 2.
enter number. Ay, card number? What?
Okay na.
Ako na lang.
Enter. Bakit to?
I-enter mo to?
Hindi ah. Again. Iba
Ito
man
naman.
yung lumalabas.
Ito na lang.
Brother. Again.
Ito na lang.
Eh, mamaya na. Bakit ka na lang eh. Dapat lumalabas yung ano. Amount. Ayan. Kaya ba lumabas kanina? Ayun.
Iba yung lugar.
Oo, kanina. Baka may pinindot ka. Thanks.
Yeah.
Ano yun? Shot yun. Kanina shot yun. No? Pati nga. Wallpaper ba yun? Saan na?
Salamat. Ay, ito. This Coke.
Siyempre. Ito yung ano? Ito. Ano na to? Ano ba to? Sarap to. Dry man sa inyo yun. Walang sauce? Gusto ko lang ang sauce. Yung asin?
Two Coke.
Ay, chicken ang dami naman. Ayun to oh. Basta. Burger. Pati naman yan to.
Ano to? Ay, donut.
Coffee at saka donut or kofta.
Kofta na lang. Parehas ayaw mo yan eh.
Akala ko kasi yung parang binibili ko.
Ganda.
Ayun pala no. Ayun na nga. Ingat sa ano, biyahe.
Yes. Ako mabubuto ah.
Oh my god, I have so many food!
Dami na agad doon. Ay, beautiful.
Bye-bye! Parang student na school. Bye, Daddy! Hirap na hirap yan. Ah, tumatawa ka ha?
Parang estudyante.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive, and there's nothing that makes me happy. Hold my beer for a minute, I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going on a trip and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning, oh. And this is just the beginning, I need a big change, help me feel like living. I need a big swing, home runs I'm hitting, and I'll never look back, moving on till I get it all. And we all got dreams, we all want things, but what you gonna do for it, how you gonna move for it, what you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? Let's go! Hey! Yeah, this is my life, my strife, my right to fight, to die on. And this is my game to play, to claim a brand new name, oh. And gonna lie to you, I'm a bit nervous that I might screw everything up that I've ever done. But what's the point of living if you ain't having fun? I guess I'll try this, try that, might miss, gotta find what I'm good at. I guess I look here, look there, over where am I scared, where am I at? I gotta make it in this life, whatever makes me happy, know I'm doing things right. Sipping in the summer on a goose and Sprite, or find a nightclub for the end of the night, oh. And we all got dreams, we all want things. But what you gonna do for it, how you gonna move for it, what you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it, how you gonna move for it, what you gonna be?
Explore new ways to tune into your music with Spotify Premium. Smart Shuffle adds recommendations into your playlist to show you new sounds. Or you can make music a shared experience when you host a jam, where you and your friends can add songs and listen in together. Tap the banner to learn more.
Assalamualaikum. Sabah al-khair. Kويس كويس الحمد لله مية مية.
At the same time, portrays the colonized as subhuman, using deeply racist rhetoric to justify their oppression. The colonized are often compared to animals or reduced to stereotypes that deny their individuality and potential. These narratives strip them of agency and reinforce their subjugation. Resistance begins when the colonized reject the colonizers' values, exposing the contradictions in their claims of liberty and human rights. For example, while Europe thrived on wealth extracted from colonized lands, those same lands were left impoverished. This realization fuels a demand not for inclusion in the colonial system, but for its complete dismantlement. Liberation isn't seen as just political independence, but as the reclamation of identity and culture. This isn't a polite negotiation, it's a fight born of necessity. The colonized demand justice, not as an abstract ideal, but as a tangible restructuring of their world. They reject assimilation into the colonial framework and strive to build societies rooted in their own values and histories. Violence of the colonized. Deep down, the colonized subject acknowledges no authority. He is made to feel inferior, but by no means convinced of his inferiority. He patiently waits for the colonist to let his guard down and then jumps on him. Frantz Fanon, colonialism is built on violence, maintained by it, and inevitably undone by it. The system thrives on the physical and psychological oppression of the colonized and is designed to crush individuality and collective identity. For the colonized, the only path to liberation becomes the language of violence, a method they learn from their oppressors. In Algeria, the brutal French colonial regime pushed people into armed resistance. Repression became so severe that even minor provocations led to massacres, as seen in incidents like Filippo in 1935, where thousands were killed. These acts of colonial terror didn't intimidate, they fueled rage and solidarity, making violence an unavoidable response. This violence isn't just physical, it's transformative. The act of resistance unites people across divisions, dismantling the tribal and regional fractures that colonialism used to divide them. Armed struggle goes beyond expelling the colonizer. It rebuilds national identity and helps reclaim humanity. Every action taken against the oppressors helps the colonized shed their inferiority complex and regain self-worth. Nonviolence under oppressive struggle for national liberation is not a question of bridging the gap in one giant stride. The effort is played out on a difficult, day-to-day basis, and the suffering endured far exceeds that of the colonial period. Friends, family, the struggle for liberation often begins with spontaneous uprisings. These grassroots movements emerge from deep frustration and centuries of oppression. Local revolts, small-scale organizations, and uncoordinated actions represent the initial rejection of authority. They're fueled by the immediate desire for freedom, and their decentralized nature means every community participates according to its own capacity. On every hilltop and in every valley, informal governments take shape, each claiming a stake in the national cause. However, spontaneity comes with weaknesses. While these early efforts unite people in action, they often lack structure and coordination. Overconfidence in localized liberties can lead to significant setbacks when faced with the superior organization and resources of colonial regimes. The lack of a unified strategy exposes these movements to vulnerabilities, including internal conflicts and external manipulation. Nationalist parties often fail to bridge the gap between these spontaneous uprisings and a cohesive, organized resistance. These parties focus on building elites, proletariats, civil servants, and tradespeople, while neglecting the rural peasantry, who represent the majority and are the most revolutionary force. This disconnect between leadership and the broader population weakens the overall movement. Spontaneity also fails to address the divisions shown by colonialism. Old tribal rivalries, regional conflicts, and economic disparities resurface during the movement, threatening unity. To overcome this, the revolution must evolve. Leaders must emerge to organize, educate, and unify the population. Revolutionary structures, such as village assemblies and political committees, are essential to maintaining momentum and ensuring all sectors of society contribute to the cause. The transition from spontaneous revolt to organized action is critical for the liberation struggle. Spontaneity provides the spark, but only a disciplined organization can sustain the fight. The movement must shift from immediate, localized goals to a broader vision of national liberation, forging a collective identity that transcends regional and tribal divides. The importance of national consciousness. The living expression of the nation is the collective consciousness in motion of the entire people. Friends, family. After independence, the dream of national liberation often crumbles into a harsh reality. The energy and unity that fueled the fight against colonial rule don't automatically translate into a just, thriving society. Instead of building a nation that serves the people, many new governments fall into the hands of a weak, self-serving elite. This so-called national bourgeoisie is a poor imitation of its colonial predecessors. It lacks economic power, creativity, and any real commitment to the masses. Rather than investing in industry or innovation, these leaders prioritize their own wealth, taking over old colonial privileges rather than dismantling them. They talk about nationalizing the economy, but in practice, this just means transferring control from colonial rulers to a small elite who continue to exploit the people. The state quickly becomes a tool for personal enrichment. Political parties, once symbols of resistance, turn into bureaucratic machines that serve only the ruling class. Those who fought for liberation are sidelined. Leaders who were once seen as patriots become disconnected from the people, treating them as an obstacle rather than the foundation of the new nation. Without a real program for development, corruption takes root. The economy stagnates. Governments rely on foreign loans and aid, reinforcing their dependence on the former colonial powers. Instead of an economic revolution, what emerges is a cycle of exploitation under a different flag. For example, landowners, instead of reforming agriculture, intensify the exploitation of farm workers while justifying their actions in the name of national interest. Meanwhile, the people still struggling in poverty begin to see through the betrayal. The elite enjoy lavish lifestyles, sending their children abroad for education, while ordinary citizens remain in despair. The resentment grows, setting the stage for future conflict. When national unity is based only on slogans and not on genuine economic and social change, it collapses. Ethnic and tribal divisions resurface, tearing apart the fragile unity that once seemed so strong. The only way to prevent this decay is by cultivating a deep and genuine national consciousness. Independence is not just about removing foreign rule, it is about transforming society to serve the people. Without political education, social responsibility, and economic planning, independence is just a transfer of power from one ruling class to another. A true national consciousness must move beyond slogans and establish structures that empower the people. The battle for culture and tradition. National culture is the collective thought process of a people to describe, justify, and extol the actions whereby they have joined forces and remained strong. National culture in the underdeveloped countries, therefore, must lie at the very heart of the liberation struggle these countries are waging. Frantz Fanon. Colonialism doesn't just take land and resources. It tries to erase the very identity of the people it dominates. It imposes a new legal system, marginalizes local customs, and enforces a version of reality where the colonized are seen as backward. The goal is to make them doubt their own culture, to internalize the idea that their traditions are primitive and their past is worthless. This cultural destruction happens in phases. At first, colonial rulers tolerate indigenous traditions as long as they remain superficial, like colorful festivals and folk music. But when colonized people use their culture as a means of resistance, it becomes a threat. Colonial authorities react by banning cultural expressions, censoring literature, and criminalizing anything that hints at defiance. Intellectuals in colonized societies often struggle with their identity. Some reject their roots and fully embrace the culture of the colonizers, believing that doing so will earn them respect. Others turn to documenting and preserving their traditions, but do so in a way that feels more like a museum exhibit than a living, evolving culture. Neither path is truly effective in resisting colonial oppression. Real cultural revival begins when people reclaim their history, not as a relic, but as a weapon. When an Algerian nationalist sings old war songs, when a Congolese poet writes about resistance, or when a Malian artist paints scenes of rebellion, these aren't just artistic expressions, they are acts of defiance, statements that say, we existed before colonialism and we will exist after it. In places like Algeria, national liberation movements saw this clearly. The battle wasn't just about political independence, it was about reclaiming a stolen identity. The guerrilla fighters weren't just fighting for land, they were fighting for the right to define their own reality. The deeper the struggle, the more culture transformed from a passive tradition into an active force of resistance. Building national consciousness is more than just reviving old traditions, it's about creating something new. The goal isn't to return to a past that no longer exists, but to forge a future where culture belongs to the people, not the oppressors. When liberation movements succeed, they unlock the full creative potential of their society. That's when culture truly comes alive again. The trauma lives on. Today, the all-out national war of liberation waged by the Algerian people for 7 years has become a breeding ground for mental disorders. Frantz Fanon. Colonial violence doesn't just destroy bodies and cities, it leaves lasting wounds on the mind. Wars of liberation don't truly end even when the fighting stops. The trauma lingers, shaping the lives of those who live through it. Hospitals fill up with people suffering from severe psychological disorders. Fighters who carried out bombings, civilians who witnessed massacres, and even colonial soldiers who tortured prisoners are all affected. One Algerian militant, for example, was plagued by anxiety attacks every year on the anniversary of an operation where he planted a bomb that killed 10 people. His belief in the revolution never wavered, but his mind couldn't escape the weight of what he had done. Torture is one of the most devastating tools used in the war. It isn't just meant to extract information, it's designed to break people, to make them lose their sense of self. But the torturers aren't left untouched either. Many French soldiers developed severe mental disorders after carrying out brutal acts, showing how violence corrupted everyone involved. Children who grow up in the war carry its scars too. Many lose their families and spend years in refugee camps. They suffer from chronic anxiety, night terrors, and violent outbursts. Their young minds shaped by a world that only seems to offer suffering. Breaking free from colonial rule is more than removing foreign powers. The psychological wounds must also be confronted. If a nation ignores them, they fester, influencing future generations. Healing requires recognition of the suffering endured and the effort to rebuild minds as well as society. A new beginning. The third world is today facing Europe as one colossal mass whose project must be to try and solve the problems this Europe was incapable of finding the answers to. Frantz Fanon. Europe, for centuries, has presented itself as a champion of human progress. Yet its history is marked by oppression, war, and genocide. It has enslaved and exploited people while preaching about liberty. It has positioned itself as the center of civilization while suffocating the rest of the world in the name of so-called spiritual adventure. Now it stands on the brink of destruction, caught between nuclear threats and its own moral collapse. There is no future in following Europe's path. It has lost its sense of reason, speeding toward its own downfall. The former colonies must refuse to be trapped in Europe's shadow. The world does not need another version of it. It needs a radical departure from the systems that have dehumanized and exploited entire nations. The danger lies not just in political and economic dependency, but in the psychological chains that keep the colonized thinking they must catch up with the West. There is, of course, a temptation to seek models and guidance. Many look to Europe's achievements in science, technology, and governance as proof that its path is the right one. But these accomplishments have come at the cost of humanity itself. A society built on exploitation and violence cannot be the blueprint for true liberation. Looking to Europe for answers is misleading. It means repeating the same mistakes that led to its decay. Instead, the task ahead is to create something entirely different, something Europe never achieved. A world that prioritizes humanity over profit, solidarity over conquest. The former colonies must reject the illusion of European superiority and embrace their own history, culture, and creativity. They must turn away from mimicry and channel their energy into building societies that reflect the needs and aspirations of their people. This is not just a political mission, but a human one. The goal is not simply to govern differently, but to reshape what it means to be human. Europe, despite its claims, has never truly respected humanity. Now, those who were once oppressed must take on the task of redefining it. Wrapping up, colonialism does not just take land. It reshapes identities, divides societies, and justifies exploitation under the guise of civilization. The struggle against it is not only a fight for independence, but a battle to reclaim dignity, culture, and self-determination. Violence is both a tool of oppression and a means of resistance. Colonial regimes rule through force, silencing opposition with massacres, imprisonment, and economic suppression. When negotiations fail, the oppressed turn to armed struggle, not out of revenge, but out of necessity. Through resistance, people reject the myths of inferiority forced upon them and rediscover their collective strength. Independence, however, does not guarantee freedom. Many new nations inherit colonial structures instead of dismantling them. Power remains in the hands of a few, while the majority continues to struggle. Political leaders, once symbols of resistance, grow disconnected from the people. Corruption replaces colonial exploitation, and economic dependency on former rulers persists. National unity, once strong during the fight for liberation, weakens under internal divisions. Culture is central to this battle. Colonial powers seek to erase indigenous traditions, rewriting history to make the oppressed feel inferior. But culture becomes a force of resistance. Music, literature, and art carry the spirit of defiance. People reclaim their history, not as a relic of the past, but as a foundation for the future. Even after independence, the scars of colonialism remain. Trauma lives on in those who fight, in children raised in war, and even in former oppressors. Liberation requires more than political change. It demands healing, rebuilding, and a renewed sense of identity. The challenge is to create something new, free from the patterns of exploitation that have shaped the world for centuries. Independence requires forging a different path, one where justice, dignity, and solidarity define progress. So the struggle does not end with liberation. It continues in the choices leaders make, in the way societies are built, and in the values they uphold. We hope you enjoyed this read. If it made you think or smile, consider leaving us a rating and sharing your thoughts. Your input helps us make the app even better. Excited for more? Test your knowledge with a quiz and dive into your next pearl.
Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. The Childhood That Burned. Jeanette Walls was born into a very unusual family in southern Arizona. Her father, Rex, was an alcoholic who had big dreams. He often spoke about building a castle for the family. To him, this castle represented hope, a fight against their poverty, and the pursuit of their dreams. Jeanette's mother, Rosemary, was an artist. She had her own unique way of raising her children, and often seemed more interested in her art than in caring for the family. Rex and Rosemary Walls had 4 children: Lori, Brian, Jeanette, and Maureen. One day, when Jeanette was just a little girl, she burned herself trying to cook hot dogs on her own. It was an accident, and the burns were serious. Even though her parents did not trust doctors or hospitals, Mom took her to the hospital, where she stayed for 6 long weeks. Her father's reaction was skeptical of medicine, saying, "Your mother should have taken you to that witch doctor the day you got burned, not to these heads-up-their-asses med school quacks." During her stay, the nurses began asking Jeanette questions about her life at home, and this made Rex and Rosemary uncomfortable. They did not want to reveal their family's secrets. So, as soon as they could, Rex took Jeanette home, ignoring the medical advice given to them. Back home, life was chaotic. The family moved around a lot, never staying in one place for more than a few months. This constant moving made it hard for Jeanette and her siblings to make friends or feel settled anywhere. Instead, they spent their days exploring nature, finding insects and rocks, and often skipping school. Jeanette once fell out of the car on a sharp turn over some railroad tracks, and it took the family a while to realize she was missing. Rex, using needle-nosed pliers, helped pull the pebbles from her face, and humorously remarked, "Damn, honey, you busted your snot locker pretty good." Between chaos and connection, Rex was good at science and had impressive skills, but he hated working for anyone else. He wanted to be his own boss and didn't like anyone telling him what to do. As Jeanette recounts, people were always offering him jobs, he'd explain, but he wasn't interested in work for hire, in saluting and sucking up and brown-nosing and taking orders. Rosemary, on the other hand, was deeply absorbed in her artistic world. She often forgot about practical things, like making sure her kids had enough food to eat or clothes to wear. As Jeanette writes, "If we asked Mom about food, in a casual way, because we didn't want to cause any trouble, she'd simply shrug and say she couldn't make something out of nothing. We kids usually kept our hunger to ourselves, but we were always thinking of food and how to get our hands on it." Mostly, the children faced various challenges, especially when it came to their basic needs. Many nights, they went to bed hungry, their stomachs growling. The houses they lived in lacked electricity and heating, so they often felt cold. The parents were not around much. Rex spent a lot of time in bars, indulging in alcohol, while Rosemary focused on her paintings. This neglect left Jeanette and her siblings to fend for themselves. Despite the chaotic and challenging upbringing, several positive moments shone through. The Walls family often found joy in simple pleasures, like storytelling evenings, where Rex captivated his children with grand tales of adventure and heroism. Additionally, the shared experiences of exploring the desert and engaging in imaginative play built strong sibling bonds, creating cherished memories amidst the hardship. When adults fail, children step up. The parents' constant moving, driven by their refusal to handle financial responsibilities, led the family to relocate frequently across states like Nevada, Arizona, and California. As Jeanette grew older, she became increasingly aware of Rex's alcoholism and its effects. On her 10th birthday, she asked him to quit drinking, and he managed to stay sober for a few months. However, after he relapsed, Rosemary decided that with no money left, it was time for another move. This time, she took the family to stay with Rex's parents in Welch, West Virginia. There, Jeanette's father faced old demons, and they encountered even more struggles. The kids often found themselves looking for food. At school, Jeanette faced ridicule from classmates who laughed at her because they were poor. Jeanette recalls, "At lunchtime, when other kids unwrapped their sandwiches or bought their hot meal, Brian and I would get out books and read. Brian told everyone he had to keep his weight down because he wanted to join the wrestling team when he got to high school. I told people that I had forgotten to bring my lunch. No one believed me, so I started hiding in the bathroom during lunch hour." A troubling incident occurred when Brian was left alone with his grandmother, Irma. She tried to fix his pants, but acted inappropriately, making him uncomfortable. He cried and tried to resist her. Jeanette walked in, saw what was happening, and told Irma to stop. This led to a fight between Jeanette and Irma, and their older sister Lori jumped in to help. Afterward, when they told their dad about it, he ignored their worries, showing the family's problems and how close the siblings were to each other. Shattered hopes and new paths. Their father had big dreams about the glass castle, but it became painful for Jeanette to realize that their hopes were unlikely to come true. While Rex promised that they would have great lives, he often failed to deliver. One day, he asked them to throw trash into the very hole where the glass castle was supposed to be built. At that moment, Jeanette felt a crushing reality. There was nothing good that would come from staying there. She knew it was time to leave. Jeanette and Lori decided they would take jobs to save money. As she recalls, "We'd take on extra work after school and put everything we earned into the piggy bank." Lori wanted to go to art school in New York, so they worked hard to gather the funds. Rex, unfortunately, took the money they saved, but the girls did not give up. Lori finally left for New York City, working in a restaurant to pay her way through school. Jeanette discovered she loved writing, especially while working on her school newspaper. After graduation, Jeanette made the brave decision to move to New York City to be with Lori. She found an internship, which later turned into a job at a newspaper. College was challenging, but Jeanette adapted and embraced her new life. Brian and Maureen also moved to New York, trying to build a better future for themselves away from the chaos. While Lori, Jeanette, and Brian managed to find jobs and start new lives, Maureen struggled to take care of herself. In a moment of instability, she stabbed her mom and was subsequently placed in a mental institution. Bittersweet freedom. Rex and Rosemary eventually followed their children to New York. Their lives did not change. They continued to drink heavily and scavenge for trash. It was heartbreaking for Jeanette to see her parents living this way. As the years went on, things became increasingly difficult. One day, Jeanette received tragic news. Her father, Rex, had passed away. It was tough handling the loss. He never got to build his dream home. It was a glass castle all along. Although he had caused her a lot of pain, she also remembered the adventurous spirit he had instilled in her. After his death, Rosemary continued to collect trash, trying to find bits and pieces of a life that seemed increasingly lost. Despite all the challenges and heartbreak, Jeanette pushed on. Her life in New York became her way out of the chaos of her childhood. She established her own identity, and through her writing, she found her own voice. In that New York life, filled with both successes and struggles, Jeanette learned to embrace her past while creating a brighter future for herself. Throughout her journey, Jeanette faced many harsh realities, but she also discovered her inner strength and the value of hard work. Her story was one of resilience, storytelling, and the unyielding pursuit of dreams. Jeanette worked hard, never forgetting where she came from, and she became a successful writer, sharing her story world. It was a long and difficult journey, but she built her own castle, a real one, not as a physical structure, but as a testament to her enduring spirit and ambition. Wrapping up, Growing up in poverty with alcoholic and absent parents, Jeanette faced immense challenges, including frequent relocations, neglect, and hunger. Despite these struggles, she and her siblings maintained a strong bond and found joy in simple pleasures like exploring nature and engaging in imaginative play. However, as Jeanette grew older, the harsh realities of her family's dysfunction became more apparent, especially as she witnessed her father's alcoholism and her mother's neglect. Over time, Jeanette and her siblings decided to leave their tumultuous past behind. They moved to New York, where Jeanette found a new life through writing, eventually landing a job at a newspaper. Lori, too, pursued her dreams in art, while Brian and Maureen also sought better futures in the city. Unfortunately, Maureen struggled with mental health issues, culminating in her being placed in a mental institution after an incident with their mother. Meanwhile, their parents continued to live in poverty, unable to escape their destructive habits. Despite the pain and heartache caused by her parents' actions, Jeanette found strength in her experiences and used her writing to share her story with the world. The death of her father marked the end of an era, but Jeanette's journey was far from over. She embraced her past, using it to fuel her ambition, and ultimately building her own version of the glass castle, one grounded in her perseverance and the dreams she had worked so hard to achieve. Jeanette's life is a testament to the power of resilience and the importance of finding one's own path, no matter the obstacles faced along the way.
We hope you enjoyed this read. If it made you think or smile, consider leaving us a rating and sharing your thoughts. Your input helps us make the app even better. Excited for more? Test your knowledge with a quiz and dive into your next pearl. The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. Mind over mood. Rationality is not a power you are born with, but one you acquire through training and practice. Robert Greene. Most of us like to think that we're logical, reasonable people, but we're not naturally rational. Our minds are constantly pulled around by emotions, hidden biases, and old habits from childhood. If you've ever looked back at a decision and thought, why did I do that? You've already seen this in action. We're often reacting to feelings, not facts. Why does this matter? Our unchecked emotions and biases can lead us straight into the same mistakes again and again. We might snap at someone, avoid a challenge, or chase an idea just because it feels good in the moment, not because it's actually smart. Those habits and patterns, they're often running on autopilot, quietly steering our choices without us even realizing it. Here's the good news. Self-awareness can change everything. When you start to notice your own emotional triggers, like anger, insecurity, or the need to be right, you can choose to pause. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What's really going on? That little bit of distance gives you the power to respond thoughtfully instead of just reacting. It's like putting yourself back in the driver's seat, and the more you practice, the better you get. You'll start to see your own patterns, recognize when you're slipping into old biases, and catch yourself before making an impulsive choice. You don't have to be perfect or coldly logical all the time. Just a little bit more aware, a little bit more in control every day. If you want personal power, start by mastering your own emotions and knowing your mind. It's the secret to smarter decisions, breaking negative cycles, and unlocking your natural creativity. Give it a try. Your future self will thank you. The shadow side. People are rarely who they seem to be. Lurking beneath their polite, affable exterior is inevitably a dark shadow side consisting of the insecurities and the aggressive, selfish impulses they repress and carefully conceal from public view. Robert Greene. Everyone has a shadow side, those thoughts, feelings, or urges you'd rather not admit to. Maybe it's a flash of jealousy, a stubborn grudge, or that desire for power and control. These aren't just random flaws. They're actually a big part of being human. Most of us are taught to hide these parts of ourselves. We put on our best face and try to act good all the time. But if you keep pushing down those feelings or pretend they don't exist, they don't disappear. Instead, they bubble up through cracks, like passive-aggressive comments, sudden bursts of anger, feeling restless, or even sabotaging your own goals. Ever wonder why someone who seems super nice suddenly snaps? That's the shadow side showing up. The truth is, all of us are driven by deep, sometimes hidden, psychological forces. We want attention, we want to be liked, we want to feel powerful or in control. And honestly, we're all carrying a few secrets, insecurities, and old wounds. These hidden needs, like envy, the desire for power, or even aggression, shape our actions, our relationships, and even our moods. So what's the better way? Start by being a little more honest with yourself. Notice when you're craving attention, feeling insecure, or wanting to control a situation. The more aware you are, the less these hidden forces run the show. Welcome these parts in, get to know them, and use their energy for something positive. For example, instead of denying your anger, learn from it. Maybe it's telling you a boundary has been crossed, or if you feel envy, use it as motivation to work harder or learn something new. When you bring your shadow into the light, it loses its power to control you, and you gain more control over your life. This is also where real authenticity comes from. People can tell when you're comfortable in your own skin, even with your flaws. It makes you relatable and trustworthy. And if you're dealing with others, remember, there's always more going on beneath the surface than you can see. This kind of awareness makes you a better friend, partner, and leader. Rid the room. We are all such good actors that we're not even aware of this as it happens. We imagine we are almost always being sincere in our social encounters, which any good actor will tell you is the secret behind really believable acting. Robert Greene. Let's be honest, everybody's wearing a mask. We all play roles at work, at home, or even just chatting with a barista.
play the music the moment is calling for, whether it's turning up the party or winding down to relax in the evening. Curate the day's soundtrack with ad-free music listening and offline downloads on Spotify Premium. Tap the banner to learn more. mode. Bluetooth mode. Explore new ways to tune into your music with Spotify Premium. Smart Shuffle adds recommendations into your playlist to show you new sounds. Or you can make music a shared experience when you host a jam, where you and your friends can add songs and listen in together. Tap the banner to learn more. Clear road. 551.
Hello, Yang. Yang?
Hi.
Kumusta ka, Yang?
I'm not good.
Why? What happened?
Can I die now?
Ha?
Can I just die now?
Bakit naman? Ano nangyari sa'yo?
Ang dami nangyari.
Ha?
Ang
Maraming...
daming nangyari.
Nasaan ka?
Sa bahay.
Wala ka nang pasok?
Wala.
Pang anong oras ka ba?
I'm sick. Not sick.
Kumain ka na
Wala ako sa
Yang?
ER kagabi. No.
Ha?
No.
Nagsakit ka?
Yeah.
Ano nangyari sa'yo?
Past 10 days, namamaga yung bituka ko.
Ah, yung pa rin? Yung...
Yeah.
Are you okay?
I'm not okay.
Ah,
But I think I'm suicidal.
ano?
I think I'm suicidal na.
Suicidal? Ano? Nagdadrive ako, Yang. Hindi kita masyadong marinig.
Sabi.
Na-confine ka yan?
No.
Oo, ano yung masakit sa'yo? Ba't di ka nagpunta ng ospital? I mean,
No.
hello?
Yeah.
Ano? Galing ka ng ospital? Nag-ER ka?
Nag-ER ako ulit kagabi. Lumabas kami ng mga friends ko. Tapos kumain kami right after food. Sumakit yung tiyan ko.
Ah, so may nakain ka? Na-ER ka kagabi after nyo kumain?
Yeah.
O anong sabi ng doktor?
Gastritis daw.
Ah, may gastritis ka. So, binigyan ka ng gamot?
Antibiotic sana ako. Kaso allergic ako dun sa antibiotic.
Ay, hindi ka binigyan ng ibang gamot?
Hindi na daw. No need na.
So, anong magandang remedyo dyan?
So, nung mamatay,
Grabe ka naman. Gastritis lang yan. Malayo sa bituka yan. Bituka na pala yan. Bituka na yan.
iniwalayan niya ulit ako to, Ben.
Paano iniwan? Ano na naman nangyari? Bakit? Nag-away na naman kayo? Anong pinagawayan nyo? Bakit ganun? Masyado naman kayong madalas mag-away. Hindi nyo na lang pag-usapang maayos.
Natatakot ako sa sarili ko.
Bakit? Ba't ka natatakot?
I think I'm being suicidal na nga. I'm thinking of bad things now.
Ano lang yan. Bad talaga, pero kaya mo yan. Wala namang problema hindi naaayos. Kung may pinagawayan kayo, pag-usapan nyo. Anong problema? Ano bang treatment siya? Kasama ba siya kagabi?
Hindi.
O, ba't kayo nag-away? Hindi mo pa na kayo magkasama.
The other day,
Anong dahilan ng away nyo? Mabigat ba yan?
parang kasi nakita ko na may nag-message sa kanya.
Tapos,
Sabi, ano ba daw, sabi, tapos, walang prior na message ako nabasa. Hindi niya alam na nakikita ko sa tablet niya yung account niya.
oh,
And then, tinatawagan ko. Doon ako nagsistay sa kanila.
oh,
Tapos nung tinawagan, nung tumawag siya kasi hindi na sumasagot. Tumawag siya. Habang kausap ko siya, nakita ko na binura niya yung conversation doon sa taong yun. Doon ako nagtanong, sino ba yun? Sabi ko, si Ganto.
oh.
E di sabi niya, kaibigan nga daw ng ex niya.
Kaibigan ng ex niya. Okay.
Oo. Sabi daw, i-unblock nga daw niya yung ex niya para mag-usap sila. Sabi ko, bakit mo binura? Tsaka bakit sinasabi niya na kinukonsider niya na pinag-iisipan niya na i-unblock niya yung ex niya? What for ba?
Di ba may anak siya?
Hindi yan. Hindi yan yung ex na may anak siya. Yung nasa London.
Oo, tapos? So, tinanong mo, anong sabi niya?
Iba ka daw dahil sa papeles, sa mga anong dokumento na nandyan sa kanya.
Oh,
Pero tinago niya sa akin. Binura niya. Ba't mo binura sa ko?
oh,
And then pag uwi niya after work, nag-usap kami.
oh.
Alam mo yung, imbis na you would say sorry, whatsoever, instead he made it
Oh.
about